gonna start blocking off these streets.
So there's 3 separate shootings.
Man team right now to go to the front of the house and they're looking for breaching tools.
It's 3:47 in the morning and you're wide awake while the whole city sleeps around you. Your body is sending 2 signals at once. Eat something, lie down. You do neither. A radio crackles with a call on the east side, and your hands already know what to do, even though your brain still feels like it's underwater. This is night 19 of 32. But nobody warned you that the hardest part of this job wouldn't be the danger on the street. It would be convincing your own body that 4 in the morning is lunchtime.
Got the THC burger. Don't worry, there's no Delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol.
The first night is almost fun. Adrenaline covers for you. The briefing room smells like burnt coffee and dry erase marker. The fluorescent lights buzz a half step too bright for the hour, and everyone's cracking jokes. Because staying up all night still feels like an adventure your body hasn't caught on to yet. You check your gear the way you always do. You clip in, you roll out, and for a few hours the city at 2 a.m. almost feels like your own private version of it. That feeling doesn't last. Somewhere around night 4, the adrenaline stops covering the bill and the actual cost of what you're doing starts showing up. You're not just staying awake, you're asking a body clock built over millions of years of daylight to run backward, and it does not want to. Here's the part nobody explains at the academy. Daytime sleep isn't the same sleep. Researchers who tracked 76 patrol officers through a full shift rotation in Quebec.
I'm not involved in anything, I just saw it happen.
Matt, where's...
The guy right there with the
found that the ones whose internal clocks actually adjusted to working nights got about 6.5 hours of sleep a day. The ones whose bodies never adjusted got closer to 5 3/4. And that gap showed up as measurably worse alertness and mood on the job. It doesn't sound like much on paper, but it shows up fast when you're the one behind the wheel at the end of a shift. Your blackout curtains become the most important object you own. A strip of duct tape over the bedroom door goes up to block the hallway light. Your phone goes face down and on silent because a single notification buzz at 11 in the morning can end the whole day before it starts. Your neighbor's lawnmower becomes a personal attack. You sleep in pieces in a house that's loud in all the ways a bedroom at 2 a.m. is supposed to be quiet. And there's no walking out into morning light to reset the clock the way everyone else does. For you, sunrise is bedtime. There's a version of camaraderie that only exists at 4 in the morning.
See the guy with the white beater on? The blue white beater?
With the dog?
He's got gold and blue white beater.
You and your partner split a bag of gas station sunflower seeds in an empty parking lot because it's the only thing still open. And for 10 minutes, it's almost funny how absurd your whole life has become. The heater ticks, the windshield fogs at the edges, and neither of you says much. Then the radio breaks the moment, and you're moving again. Food gets strange too. A recent survey of UK police officers found more than 65% were overweight or obese, and diet quality dropped hardest specifically on night shifts, worse than on days off. That's not a willpower problem, it's biology working against you. Eating overnight forces insulin and cortisol onto the wrong schedule, and researchers have found that even a modest snack in the middle of the night blunts the cortisol rise your body is supposed to get in the morning, the rise that's supposed to help you feel human again. So you eat a gas station burrito at 3 a.m. because it's what's open, not because your body actually wants it. You keep a granola bar in the glove box for the calls that run long past a meal break.
It kind of like switches over from like our family dinner time.
You learn which 24-hour diner will still seat 2 officers in uniform at 5 in the morning without anyone staring. And somewhere in all of that, a slow bill starts running that you won't see for years. By week 2, you stop setting an alarm for a normal life. You wake up without knowing if it's Tuesday or Friday. And it doesn't really matter, because your only real appointment is with the sun going down. Your grocery runs happen at midnight, in a store that's nearly empty, except for stockers and one other bleary-eyed shift worker you nod to like you're part of the same secret club. Even the small stuff gets rearranged. Court dates and DMV appointments still run on a 9 to 5 clock that has no idea you exist. So you show up, half awake, in real clothes instead of a uniform, blinking under lights that feel aggressively normal after weeks of squad car glow and streetlights. A haircut appointment becomes a small logistics operation, squeezed into the 1 hour between waking up and heading back in. You start showering twice a day out of pure necessity, once to wake your body up enough to function, once after shift to scrub off a night's worth of sweat and whatever the last call put on your hands. Your own reflection at 6 a.m. starts to look like someone else's, a little grayer around the eyes than the version of you that started this rotation. Then there's the part that's harder to put a number on. You start missing things that have nothing to do with sleep. Family dinners, weekend plans made without you because everyone stopped assuming you'd be free. A kid's school play you catch on a shaky phone video someone sent you, watched at 6 a.m. with your uniform still on.
So sorry about
No
this.
problem. It's all right.
I'm so
You guys are good. Have a good.
Sorry.
Hey, you didn't know it happens. Drive safe, okay?
Cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes both show up more often in officers who work nights for years, and researchers increasingly point to cortisol, the stress hormone that's supposed to rise and fall on a clean daily rhythm, and instead gets flattened out by years of living backward. Nobody hands you a diagnosis for 32 nights and counting. It just quietly adds up, the same way rust adds up on something left out in weather it wasn't built for. Relationships absorb the rest of the cost. A partner at home learns to sleep alone most nights and tiptoe around a dark bedroom during the day, keeping toddlers quiet past a door with a sign taped to it that says nothing more than "please." Friends outside the job eventually stop inviting you to things, not out of unkindness, just because you've said no to enough birthdays and barbecues that they've learned the pattern before you were ready to admit it yourself. The people who really get it end up being the other officers on your same rotation, the only humans on your same broken schedule, which is its own kind of trade. You gain a tight, strange family that understands exactly why you're tired. You lose a normal one that keeps forgetting to ask. But the body doesn't stay quiet forever. It cares about function, and function is exactly what starts to slip. Fatigue doesn't announce itself with a warning light. It shows up as a missed exit, a slower reaction time, a name you can't remember for a second too long, a heavier blink than you meant to take. Researchers at Washington State University put officers through a driving simulator after real shifts and found something that should worry anyone who's ever stood next to a patrol car at 4 a.m. Officers tested after working nights were roughly 2.5 times more likely to crash than officers tested after working days. Not because they were careless, because their brains at that hour were running on a level of impairment researchers compare to being legally drunk, badge or no badge. That's the version of you sitting behind the wheel of a marked unit doing 70 on an empty highway toward a call that can't wait for you to feel more awake. One hand on the wheel and the other bracing a lukewarm coffee that stopped helping around night 12. This is a real number attached to a real body. The same one that just spent 3 weeks losing sleep in fragments, running on cortisol that never resets properly, and eating whatever gas station or diner happened to be open. Now being asked to make split-second decisions at highway speed. Every piece of the last 3 weeks quietly stacks into this one moment. And on most nights, officers pull it off. The numbers just explain why some nights they don't. And why the ones who do are running a much closer margin than anyone driving past them at a red light would ever guess. You feel it most on the drive home, when the sky turns grey behind you and the road blurs slightly at the edges, and you have to consciously remind your hands to hold the wheel steady, because the sun coming up doesn't feel like morning to you. It feels like the last hour of a fight you're not sure you won, just survived. 32 nights is just one rotation. Then you go back to days for a while, and your body has to relearn how to be a daytime person again, right before the schedule flips and starts over. Some officers do this for 20 years straight, trading their circadian rhythm for a paycheck and a badge, one rotation at a time. The department doesn't measure what that costs in the same column as the arrests made or the calls answered, but the body keeps its own ledger, whether anyone's reading it or not. So here's the question worth sitting with.
Okay, no snitching.
Okay.
Do you need me?
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah. All right, thanks, guys.
If a job quietly rewires how your heart, your gut, and your brain run every single day, and does it for years, at what point does just surviving it become its own kind of sacrifice? The kind that never makes it onto a medal or gets mentioned at a retirement dinner. Nobody signs up for the job because of the sleep schedule. They sign up despite it, and then they find a way to live inside it, night after night, rotation after rotation, until the body simply learns to call it normal. If you've ever pulled a night shift of any kind, in any uniform, you already know the answer starts the moment the sun comes up, and you're still standing there, wide awake, waiting for the rest of the world to catch up.